Hi all. Right, so we've finally finished leak testing all of the main engine oil and the gearbox oil components. So now we're happy to put all the water components back in. So swirl pot, all the pipe work, which basically is going to sit down here over the top of the oil filter and whatever, which is sort of crammed in the back corner there. Now I'm happy that I did have to change out 2 or 3 of the fittings. I've found one maker fitting that I really like now. It just seems higher quality. It's a little bit more expensive than the ones using, but now basically pretty much the whole of the oil system now and has been changed to those. So they're quite, yeah, they're just a little bit more high quality, and I haven't had any leaks. I had 2 or 3 failures on the other type, so pretty much I've changed out all the ones that were of that style. Bit of a pain, but you know, such is life. So we've had the oil system up and pressurized again back to 60 psi. I kind of forgot the fact that as much as I've put like sort of 12 litres of oil in the tank, realistically there's a lot of dash 12 and some dash 16 pipe work in there, and the engine, obviously the cooler. I put like 10 litres of oil in there, and about 6 of them disappeared, basically, to all the components, plus the fact when I was changing the lines, I'd probably lose about 1 litre or so on the floor while I was swapping the end fittings out. So yes, we've got 16 litres or 16 quarts of oil in the system now, and I'm happy because I've got about 2/3 of the oil tank full. So yes, oil changes aren't going to be cheap. Now, as far as the gearbox pumps go, or the gearbox, should we say, we had a minor problem, mainly me. The pumps that I was using were these like transfer pumps. That old gear pump, you know, it's about 6 amps. They flow about 3 gallons a minute, which was maybe a little bit more ambitious than I needed. But I found out with these pumps, they don't take post pressure very well. I don't know exactly what the pressure is yet until I fire up we calibrate the sensor for the gearbox temperature and pressure sensor, but either way around, these didn't like it. Now it's rated at 6.5 amps, but with the excuse me, with the gearbox oil spray bar that's fitted to this particular G50, which is fitted here, that bar goes all the way through the gearbox and has small holes basically drilled at each gear set. So basically it sprays oil in each individual gear set, and at the end it sprays all into the diff. So you're constantly replenishing the oil on the gears. The only problem is that obviously has a certain amount of back pressure at the flow we were trying to deliver. And basically we looked at the gearbox oil pump here. The current level just would zip and strip to 23 amps and then power off. This is on a 20 amp output. It should really be restricted to 10. The new one now I've restricted to a virtual fuse of 10 amps. So we had to bite the bullet and buy a Tilton. This is the heavy duty one with an aluminium topper casing, so it's for continuous use if needed. Yes, we couldn't fit the damn thing underneath the gearbox for the last one was done because it's physically bigger. So the only place I got basically is here. So we have 3D printed a mount for it. We've mounted it off one of the engine bolt points at the bottom, and this spare point I had here. Made this bracket, 3D printed that, and basically now this mounts to it with the rubber mounted bracket that it comes with. So I had to redo some lines because obviously the pump was in a different place. Good news is with the pump being up here though, I can actually get to bleed the clutch without having to disassemble some lines. So you know, I'm going to take the positives where I can. So now we've rerouted this. We did flip the oil cooler up the right way up. Not quite sure why. I think probably just for routing, but yeah, it was driving me nuts being the fittings being at the bottom. I'd have an air pocket in here, so yeah. And somebody said, so a couple of people mentioned, oh, you're going to get air pockets in there. So we flipped the cooler around, and while we were doing the relines to the pump, we redid the lines to go to here. And now, so we have it in. So that's our thermostat. You can see the green tape on there with my reminders for which port was what. So now that's all done, and the gearbox pump is on, which we can if we go to the manual test. We go to manual test and we go to gearbox on. Something I've never particularly liked about the tilters or whatever else is they make quite a bit of noise, which is kind of annoying, but not much I can do about that at the moment. So the oil is cold. You generally wouldn't normally run the pump until the car's got a little bit of heat into it and some heat into the oil. Thin it out a little bit so it smooths out the pump a little bit once it's warmed up. This pump will produce 50 psi of pressure. It has a lower flow. It's about 1.6 gallons. 1.6 gallons a minute. Yes, 1.6 gallons a minute. So the other ones were like over 3. So basically, it has less flow, which is okay. I don't need that massive amount of flow, but it will produce pressure post pump. So yes, so gearbox oil in, gearbox pumps installed on the new one, and that's all pressure tested. So say next stage is literally fitting all the water stuff. We have been to the place that's going to dyno tune it for us, REVD Performance, and I've spoken to Evan, the engine tuner. Nice guy, so we're pretty much going to end up getting him to come round here, hopefully next Saturday, if all goes well, and then we'll start setting up the ECU. Only downside is Evan has told me that the blink marine keypad is not easy to program for the M-tron ECU. I thought the M-tron would have the ability to basically write whatever transmit CAN bus codes that I could basically generate. It might still be that way, but it doesn't seem as intuitive. This is the output. Let's go to CAN inputs. So on reading CAN here, basically I can look and I can put a CAN ID and then read anything off that. So this is very, very simple and very easy to understand. So here's my CAN bus codes. I can change the code. If we look at 195, that produces a 1 on the first byte or bit, and I can basically look at that, look for a number 1, cancel it at 0, and then that gets me that information. And then if we look back at our general inputs, if we look on the left hand side here, if I can get the camera right, so we've got that is the first button, which is the CAN bus starter button. So I've read from the CAN bus codes and I've created a CAN input, which then now I can use as a virtual input to fire the starter motor or whatever else. This is really intuitive. I thought the M-tron would be very much the same, very easy to program. Turns out I might be wrong. It's more, it's a little bit less motorsport than I kind of thought I wanted. I thought it would be quite open in that respect. So I'm not slating the M-tron at all. It's still one of the best ECUs out there, but I might need more technical expertise to try and get it to hook up with the blink marine keypad. Now, they do have their own keypad system. I think it's the Grayscale. I can't think what it's called. It's Gray something. Which will be easy to set up because technically it's all drop-down menus and just choices, so all the codes and stuff are in the background. So what I may have to do, which will just be annoying, is basically reprint a new top piece here to mount a keypad or a CAN bus keypad that is basically designed for the M-tron. It will make setting the M-tron up a lot simpler. It's just the annoyance of spending another $500 on a keypad. Will I be able to use that keypad up there on the next install? Absolutely. The next install I'm doing is in the Lotus, and we're going to use a Max ECU, and they work with the Blink completely, and it's a lot simpler ECU, a lot simpler install. This is obviously massively complex, and the Lotus is not going to be quite so much. So yes, the one annoyance, Evan does supply those keypads, so basically I can swap it out, but we'll attempt to get that one working. But if that doesn't work out next weekend, then basically I will get get a keypad that works with it a lot easier. It does mean then I've got to rewrite some of these CAN inputs because obviously they're going to be different. But it's pretty simple, you know. I've just got to print a new 3D housing here, and I can just, you know, go into SolidWorks, create the hole that it's a little bit smaller than that one, so it should be easier to fit. 3D print it, and it's just the same, you know, 4 wires going in, ground, 12 volt, CAN high, CAN low. So it's not hard to fit. It's just the annoyance of like, I'm already there and now I've got to change it. But, you know, such is life. There's not much else you can do about that. We do have, I mentioned last time, I can't remember what I put out, but obviously all of the steering wheel controls, mainly, most of these go to the PDM, albeit the cruise control here and there, and those basically will have to go to the ECU. I do have this particular output spare now. I've realized I could put a delay. This is the wash and wash wipe. I can put a delay on the wash wipe and just quickly press this button, he says. Where are we? No, let's get the thing woken up. Okay. It's been a pain today. Okay, fine. Oh, I haven't started it. Okay, yeah, sorry I haven't pressed the start signal. And we're in manual. Let's try that, Clive. Yeah, warts and all in this particular thing. Here we go. Okay, let's try it now. That's better. Put the damn thing back in automatic, Clive. Yeah, so press this button quickly once, and I get a single wipe. That's the wiper motor there, obviously, which is what the use of that was going to be. If you hold the button for longer, you can hear the washer. So I can use it for a quick press, just do a single wipe the wiper, or hold it, and now it's wash wipe. So this button's spare, so I might end up using that for the third option for the traction control. Sorry, the cruise control. So we have our selector pot here now. So first section, first turn or first notch, intermittent. Second notch, slow. Third notch, fast. So that's our wiper control. This obviously also has to go to the ECU. This is the traction control settings, obviously the horn, and we've got our high beam flash. So steering wheel controls now, well, weren't too hard to sort out, albeit the latch for the flash, because obviously the same button will just flash the lights, but also I need it when it's on low beam to latch. So high beam, low beam, high beam, low beam. Yeah, that turned it out to be a little bit more interesting on this particular feature here. Let's try that one, Clive. There we go. On this particular feature here, we needed to use what's called a sequence. So setting this up and how it said the triggers wasn't quite as clear as I thought it was. I read it wrong. Phoned me good buddy Steve in the UK, and within half an hour he'd already figured it out, because he's a lot smarter than I am for this stuff. And we managed to get the toggle to work now, so the high beam just flashes normally, or when the low beam is on, it basically will stay on, stay off, stay on, stay off. It's a silly little fun stuff that sort of, you know, to get that stuff working. But, you know, now I know that's great. The second PDM that I've got for the next car, realistically, is going to be a lot easier. So, yeah. That's the level we're at now. This afternoon I'll be putting all the cooling systems back in. We did, right, let's fire over here. Now either side of the radiator on the car, there's an open hole at the moment. So imagine the radiator's an angle. This is going to come up and the radiator sits here. This is our closure panel. So what we've done is we've 3D printed this closure panel. Get that bit off of there, and then this is going to go over the back of here, and this will cover up the sort of ugliness of the tubing that is the front radiant support, basically clean up the air over there. This side then actually goes into the brake duct, and yeah, just to make things, compressor kicks in, awesome. Just to make things easy to put the capsulated nuts in there, we 3D printed a hexagon in the back, and we'll push fit a nut into there, and this will fit pretty much like that. So I've got to fit them first, and then get the get water in the system, and then the radiator and fuss is all finished. Note to self, Clive, turn the bloody compressor off before starting video. Actually, let's just wire over here. I'll turn this thing off now. Oh, that's better. It's quieter now. So yeah, that's the progress on the car. Hopefully after next weekend, we should be almost ready to get the car cranked over, and I'll have to make up the plug leads and bolt the headers and the gaskets and put the exhaust on. I'll probably do that on like next Sunday after Evan's left, and then we get the car ready for basically getting it ready for the dyno. Lots of stupid little bits and pieces to do. Your buddies keep mentioning the car needs to undress itself. Just like, I take the body panels off to make things easy at this point. Once we're happy that we've got all the electronics sorted and I've got all the signals I want from the engine, then realistically putting the sill tops and the sill panels back on, literally a day's work, and I have the body all back on. So being semi-stripped at the moment looks worse than it is, but realistically, you know, I'm just a couple of bits of trimming. The aluminium sort of pad of the dashboard here will have to be trimmed the same as this. But apart from that, dropping the body back on literally takes an afternoon. So it's just the fact that everything's been fitted and removed just for ease of programming and everything else. Anyway, so I blab on. Yes, my daughter's friend's car unfortunately destroyed its clutch just in an afternoon for some strange reason, just like that. We think the clutch plate, probably the rivets are just sheared and it's broken apart. So we don't have the Audi R8 anymore, we just have a nice little JDM vehicle. So Alessa's away for the moment, so Candice's going to do that for her while she's away. So yes, progress in the shop. It's nice to have it on the lift, especially when you're trying to check oil leaks. But yeah, we're pretty close. So yeah, hopefully after next Saturday, we might be very, very close to the dyno. And just say a day of bolting all the stuff that we already know fits back on. And then with any luck, sometime in March, we'll book the dyno and get ready and get in and get the engine broken in and get the damn thing actually running. Getting the engine broken in is the important part. Obviously, we've had to use, or we've used driven brake-in motor oil, because this basically is one of the best oils, I think, for engine braking, developed by Joe Gibbs Racing. We're going to use driven oil as well once we've broken the motor in. It's BR30 for the brake-in, and we're going to use, there you go, 5W30 driven synthetic. Once the car's broken in. I've only got 12 litres of that. I need to go back and get another probably 8. Make sure we got enough. But yeah. Anyway, I'm babbling. I shall speak to you all soon, and we won't be long now. We shall be heading to the dyno within a couple of weeks. Speak to you all soon.